at Bloomberg, Apple bets that its giant user base will help it win in AI. And I'll read a portion of what he wrote. There are several new capabilities in the works for this year, including ones that transcribe voice memos, retouch photos with AI, and make searches faster and more reliable in the Spotlight feature. They also will improve Safari web search and automatically suggest replies to emails and text messages. One standout feature will bring generative AI to emojis. The company is developing software that can create custom emojis on the fly based on what users are texting. That means you'll suddenly have an all-new emoji for any occasion beyond the catalog of options that Apple currently offers on the iPhone and other devices. So, Ben, my takeaway from this report, I'm taking this as a cue to set my expectations low for any ambitious AI
the custom
from
emoji
Apple.
sounds like I heard on Twitter that all new technology starts as a toy, so let me make a toy. And I mean, one thing you'll realize this with Charlie as he's growing up is the vast majority of toys are terrible. Like they look really good, and it's all natural wood and sort of XYZ, and they're interesting for like 5 minutes, and then they're never to be touched again. Like it's very cliche, but like blocks,
I realize that already,
that are flexible are so much more like that. That's the fun is in the creativity, right? That sort of speaks to this point. Yeah, I mean,
does it matter for Apple though, is what I wonder. Like, are we sure Apple really does need a compelling AI story as much as Dummin is eagerly awaiting WWDC, which I also am eagerly awaiting, in part because Apple is such a neurotic company that I'm curious to see how they're going to handle this with a bunch of eyes on them and potentially partnering with Sam Altman. Who knows? But I don't have my hopes up for any groundbreaking features that they're going to be introducing. But does that matter for Apple?
Well, what I want to see from Apple is I'm less interested in the operating system features and more interested in what capabilities are going to be in the devices for developers. This is what was so compelling about Windows last week, is all this stuff is built in. And it's all like, in Microsoft is abstracting away. If you want to build an application, if you want to build, that does this drawing thing, they will have APIs to do it, and they will smartly handle. Some will run locally, some will go up to the cloud. They have the whole cloud infrastructure. And so you sort of get this capability without having to set up your own cloud, without having to know this stuff. You just write to an API. What is the API story for all these AI features going to be? Apple at its best will build its own applications and features on these APIs to show what's possible. But those APIs will then be available to developers to do completely new things with. And so that second part is what I'm most interested in. And how is Apple, are they going to expose this? How are they going to price this? Like, do they have that ability to hand off smoothly between the device and the cloud that Microsoft has, because they've been working on stuff like this for longer than Apple has? So it's the developer part that is going to be less interesting, because by definition, what can be built on that isn't going to be there. Right. What I would love to see from Apple, and I don't have any expectations, is I would like Apple devices to have like the Llama models built in, or where. So if I want to make an iPad app that does this drawing sort of capability that I'm talking about, there doesn't need to be downloading a separate model or doing XYZ. There's just an API there to do it, and it will just sort of work. And if you embed that sort of model, maybe there will be a benefit of not having a great cloud story, because you won't be going to Daddy Tim Cook asking for permission to draw sort of XYZ. So again, the app, we've discussed the Apple Meta partnership ad nauseum, but to me, that's what I want. I want models embedded on the device that are exposed to developers with APIs. Yeah. And you can just build completely new kinds of applications that weren't possible previously.